welcome to this video. Today we are going to talk about my design thinking project. For this project I used design thinking and I thought about lesson planning at Colegio Camino Verde. We are going to look at all of the stages that design thinking has. The first one is empathize or observation. On this stage, you have to observe every situation that is presented in your environment. So you have to keep record of everything that you see, everything that you observe, everything that is involved in that situation, so you can get to a conclusion, and eventually you're going to get to a solution for one problem in specific. So for this, I used a libretita where I wrote down every situation that I had seen. So I thought about lesson planning because a lot has been said about how planning our lessons can be really useful when it comes to teaching. And we have been taught that lesson planning could be done in order to avoid omissions and unnecessary repetition. So I have focused on lesson planning and how is it done at my workplace during a week. I had been observing several situations that include planning and education. So I observed during a week every situation that was presented, and I found it very interesting how teachers sometimes have to struggle with some things that are not really clear, or they don't have the proper resources. So we are going to get deep on this, and we are going to see all of the stages next so we can get to a solution. I also had the opportunity to interview one of my co-workers. Her name is Sofia Obregon, and we are going to watch the interview. Okay, so we are going to continue with the presentation of design thinking. So next we have the next phase in design thinking, which is define. So here we have some examples of lesson planning that I was provided with. As you can see, there are some things that are not really clear, or they have the idea, but sometimes they don't know how to do it. So for this, we have the next stage, which is define. So at Camino Verde, we are 7 English teachers. This big school is located in Villanueva, kilometer 12, on the way to Barcenas, Villanueva, in the department of Guatemala. So we are 7 English teachers, and there is 1 coordinator of area. It is a big school, and it is a very nice place to work, even though sometimes we don't have the resources to work with the students. So the lack of support from publishing houses and Mineduc when it comes to training teachers or monitoring their performance. It turns out interesting how teachers nowadays, and especially in a Spanish-speaking country like ours, have to manage to create research about competencies, activities, achievement indicators in order to provide their students with a teaching of quality. So the next stage was ideate. So during this stage, I thought about several situations where there can be a solution for this problem. With the help of Mrs. Brenda Quiñones from Mineduc, we agreed to set a date to make a conference for all teachers related to lesson planning according to the CNP, which is Curriculum Nacional Base. So for this stage, we have all the ideas settled, and we thought about a workshop, which the topics were covered like this. Estrategias de aprendizaje, formato de plan. All the formats that are required in education, as you can see. So we listed some of the topics that are not really strong. So we need to reinforce them. So for this, we curated a workshop. As you can see, all of the teachers were participants of this workshop. And we saw some topics like previous knowledge, interests, necessities, aspirations, and all the general aspects to consider in lesson planning. This is in Spanish, and after that I worked on this mini workshop, just for English teachers. As you can see, we talk about several situations concerning to lesson planning. So here we are going to watch a video about the previous preparation of this workshop for English teachers. Okay, so continuing with the presentation, then we had this little workshop at my workplace in where all the English teachers were participating. As you can see in the pictures, they were filling up a lesson plan, and I was monitoring their work so they could perform it well. As you can see, all of the teachers were involved in this. Some of them were filling lesson plannings, and after that, they collaborated too with the service. So as you can see in all the pictures, they were working on this, and they were very interested on this. So the next part is test. On this part, I was able to see how the teachers were involved in this process and their thoughts about this workshop. So for this, I used some surveys that they had to fill in, and then I worked on the results. We are going now to look at all of the questions that they had, and we are going to see the results. This was a really nice experience for me because I had the opportunity to be able to help my coworkers, and that's a very nice opportunity. So as you can see, I have here the results of the English workshop at Colegio Camino Verde provided by the Universidad Mariano Galvez de Guatemala on Wednesday, 2018. So 7 surveys were provided to English teachers, and the results are the following. Do you think planning is necessary? So 6 answered yes and 1 answered no. When I asked this person about this, he just said that sometimes teachers don't have time to plan, and that was his answer. So we respect his point of view. The second one is, are you aware of the updates of the CNV? 4 said yes and 3 said no. So as you can see, there are still teachers that they don't know anything about CNV, or they are not updated. So this is a real problem that either schools and education ministry should be aware of. Number 3, do you plan the contents of the books used at your institution according to a CNV? 5 responded yes, and 2 responded no. Sometimes it is difficult for them to adjust all of the content according to a CNV. That's what they answered when I asked them about this. Did you find interesting and useful the topics seen at the workshop? 7 said yes and 0 said no. So this is very important because this is how I know that this workshop was really useful for them, and they are going to actually apply it after. And the last one, would you be interested in having training lesson planning at least twice a year? 7 responded yes. So that's the total. So that means that they are very interested in getting training at least twice a year, because that's that way they can improve their skills, and they can design a better performance, and they can help their students too by having everything planned. So these are the results. And we're going back to our presentation. And as a current student and a teacher, I find interesting how some teachers don't have the idea of how to plan. So that is something that everyone should be aware of. In the education field, because that's the only way that teachers can actually improve the education in Guatemala. So thank you very much for watching this video. I really enjoyed this activity, and I'm looking forward to keep continuing doing some other projects with design thinking. Thank you very much.